7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Live from the Rob Christensen Radio Network Satellite Studio, it's Jim and Rob Overanalyze the Movies. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies, a special breakfast episode of Jim and Rob Overanalyze Movies. So not even sure if anyone's watching it this time, but if you come across us, if you check it out in the never-ending replay that is YouTube, welcome. Today we're actually going to be looking at a film we have already looked at, and that is the Amazon Prime French film Flashback. This film, ostensibly about a lawyer, woman, kind of the irredeemable asshole type that has multiple flashbacks through time at important moments in French feminist history, and of course becomes a changed person, a changed woman who acts in solidarity with her sisters. So we're going to be taking another look at this. This is the Redux version, and we've got a very special guest. But first, I want to bring on my co-host with the most, Mr. Jim Chaboyko. How are you doing, my friend?
How's everyone? The coffee is still kicking in, so if I seem sleepy, that's my own fault. I kept on waking up.
Look, I'm leaving some of our infrastructure on. Sorry.
What was that? I kept on worried that I'd oversleep, so I kept waking up at 6, 7, 8 in the morning. So that's. Anyway,
so you're fresh, is what you're saying. You're fresh. You've got a great deep sleep.
That's one word for it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyhow.
Jim. So we're going to be looking at Flashback. Folks, I want to, though, we've got a great guest, and I'm gonna introduce her as though you did not see the YouTube video title. This who we've got, she was a former lawyer, and like Jim, I don't know about you, but every lawyer I've ever known has has had a not so secret love of the theater, and almost all of them, like almost all the lawyers I've ever known, are somehow involved in theater well past their it's like well past like just a student fascination with it. But they all remained lawyers. Not our next guest. Our next guest is was a lawyer, an avocat, I believe is the French term. Then she left the legal profession, went back to school, became a comedian, but I think the French kind of view that, there's the comedian, hey, I'm doing jokes, or I'm skits, but there's also the comedian as actor, and she became that. She did a one-woman live performance, and then more performances, one after the other, and then French television, finally came to a point where she is doing her own she did her own, made her own film, and that would be this film. Not only did she direct it, she wrote it, she starred in it. I say to everyone watching now and in the future, and to my co-host with the most, let's welcome our next guest, Caroline Vigneaux. Bonjour, Caroline. Oh, yikes.
Adorait parler français.
What? What?
No,
Well, I'm going to
English,
say what because I accidentally muted
what?
you. What?
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. So I wanted to tell you, I made a joke. I spoke French, saying that maybe nobody's going to understand. So I'm sorry, I'm French. I do speak a little bit English, but with a French accent, as I know. And also, maybe I will not understand all your questions. No, you will have to explain them slowly for me.
Will do. It'd be our pleasure.
Thank you.
we do actually have a couple of folks in the chat, so I just want to do a quick shout out to Richard L. and I'm assuming Katie Fowler is somewhere nearby. Folks who will be accompanying me in my return to France in the fall. Good to see you guys in the chat. Of course, anyone else as they come along. Shout out and I will welcome. And yeah, if anyone has a question for Caroline, put it in the chat. Feel free to repeat it if I didn't catch the play. And we'll make sure that Caroline sees it and we get that question answered. All right.
What time is it for you guys?
10:09 a.m.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Sunday morning.
And are we interrupting your dinner, Caroline? It's 5 p.m., 1700
No,
hours.
I'm French. French, we never eat it earlier. You are American. At 6, you're at the table, but we never eat before 9.
Yeah.
They just finished lunch.
Yes, I just finished my lunch when it's 5.
So I think for folks out there and for you, Caroline, usually we start our shows with kind of we do our social media checklist. We describe the film. Then we get into a quick non-spoiler zone review. With you, we're going to do it a little different, especially as we have seen this. We have taken a deep dive into this film. We're going to follow our old structure, but at the start, Jim and I have a few questions for you that don't really fit our format. And one of them is, and I'll lay it out to you right now. What did we get wrong? What did we get wrong? And you know what?
Okay.
Feel free to tell us exactly how we dropped this ball.
Okay, so I got a list.
Uh-oh. It's a trap.
Yeah.
First, my name. I want you to say my name correctly, please, just once. Caroline Vigneaux.
Caroline Vigneaux.
Caroline Vigneaux.
No, not Vigneaux. Vigneaux. Oh.
Vigneaux.
Because
Vigneaux.
E-A-U-X is O. Vigneaux. Exactly.
Vigneaux.
Caroline Vigneaux.
Vigneaux.
Yes, very good. Thank you very much.
We passed the first
And,
one.
second,
Check.
Yes, check. Now the big one, I remember we totally disagree, is about Jeanne of Arc. My vision is not your vision. And that's maybe because I'm in France and you are in America, or maybe because I changed my vision thanks to Amazon.
Oh, really? Oh,
You want
okay.
to know why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the story because I am a Catholic. I mean, my parents are Catholics and I have been raised in the Catholicism. So when I wrote this movie about Jeanne d'Arc, she was so nice. And she said, oh, yes. And she was the Virgin. Because for Catholic, what is the most important in Jeanne of Arc, I think, is that she is Virgin. And who cares? But that's the religion. Okay. And then I sent the first scenario. I wrote 17 scenarios about Flashback, you have to know, with a lot of different
Many
scene,
revisions.
characters, exactly. Characters who appears, disappears, will come back, they disappears. At the end, we found this one. And Jane of Arc was a very nice girl. So Charlie met her at the trio. And I just wanted to use, I don't know if you know, but she has been burned. One of the big reasons is because she was wearing men clothes.
Yeah.
And which is totally forbidden. It's called heresy. And I wanted to point that. But she met her at the trail and she was nice and she said, you are going to be burned. Okay, I'm sorry. I love God and blah, blah, blah. And Amazon said, your character is not big enough. We would like to give this to a good actor, so you have to make the character big. I said, yes, but, you know, she's not a big feminist, or I don't know. For me, Jeanne of Arc is just... And as I'm a student, I went on the library, and I read a lot of things about Jeanne d'Arc. And I realized that Jeanne of Arc, in the Moyen... I do say Moyen Âge en anglais, I don't know.
Moyen
Middle age?
Middle age. Yeah, Middle Ages.
She was a badass because she was directing, enfin, comment dire, elle dirigeait les armées.
A general.
A
leader.
general.
Yeah, a general,
A
leader.
woman, a leader,
Yeah.
And she won everything, and she invite, she invite.
Say invite for now. Keep
No, but
talking, and
invite,
if we can rewind a bit.
no, invite is not the good word, I know, but invent is a good one.
Invent. Okay, started.
She invents a lot of stuff that were used after her because she kicked English asses, and they put them away from France. And she was one of the biggest war leader, and she's a woman in the Middle Age where women have no rights. So I was reading everything. I said, oh my God, how is it possible that religion, lesson at school, everything give me this image of this woman when I knew she did it, but in my head, this was not important. So I decided to give her what she deserved, meaning being a real good badass. So I wanted her to kick ass and punch guys and say, no, I am this kind of girl. Because I think to do what she has done, you have to be like this. And even if it's not exactly the truth, I'm sure it's more important than the gentle virgin who hear voice and who lead the king to the Reims, but we don't know how. She was sleeping with men, not having sex, I mean sleeping with men who were doing the war, and she was leading them, and we don't care. She deserves more than this. And I've seen the movie doing by the French
Luc
director,
Besson.
Besson.
Yeah.
With this kind of different, because I loved it, but for him, she's a psychiatric.
She's a nut.
I don't know who to say. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was not my point of view, but in this movie, you can see that she's a badass, that she fights for rights, for everything. And so I realized she is one of the most feminist figure, and I knew her since I'm a kid, and I never think about her this way. And I said, oh my God, this is a big problem of our culture, I think.
You know what?
I wanted to give her back.
Gotcha. And I do, in my defense, as a big fan of Joan of Arc, like to a point where, and my, let's say my, I would say when I think of Joan of Arc, I think of the Joan of Arc in Mark Twain's this is a biography. It's almost a secular hagiography of Joan of Arc, where she is a lot of what you talk about. Like I think one of the key moments, both in your film, but also in her history, in her story, was that moment where you can only imagine the pressure this woman was under. She'd been in, like, I mean, I think the Burgundians had her for long enough. Then she gets sold to the English, and she's, you know what, living in a late Middle Ages jail. That's not going to be good. But
that's the end of the story.
Wherewithal. She still has the mental wherewithal to avoid the legal traps that the English and the collaborator churchmen were trying to lay for her. Like her answer on the, well, if I am in grace, I pray that God keeps me in grace, and if I'm not, that he puts me there. And it's just such a moving moment in her story. And again, like just the like, this is what I'm with you. I don't agree with Luc Besson's interpretation of her, because it's like, yeah, people who are like delusional usually aren't that sharp. They're not that on, especially under a great deal of stress. And yeah, I'm with you on all that. Like, I mean, this mystic figure, this mystic person, this person who, in a way, you could say, sort of created modern France by identifying herself as French, and you know, like, I mean, the nation state, like that's and as a woman, that's a remarkable thing. And so, yeah, I enjoyed your characterization of her as this strong, this badass. I think it was just, yeah, it was a different era.
It's too much for you.
Well, no, it's again, I can't believe I'm quoting my old man. Like I think we have to be careful on what's pardon.
My old man, meaning your father.
Oh yes, thank you. My dad.
I get it.
Which was tough. Anyway, but you know what? I am glad, and I should have just shut up then. And I'm going to shut
No,
up
because
now.
Jeanne of Arc, she belongs to everybody, and you can see whatever you want or what you have been told.
Yeah.
And in France, as a Catholic girl, I've been told that Jeanne d'Arc is a nice girl, and she's not, according to me, because nobody knows. You and I, we never met her, so we read, as an artist, I decided what I wanted to put in my movie, and my movie, I've decided to give back to all these women. The story I think she should have, and the thanks from girls now, because if we girls in France mostly, because I'm talking about France, we have the right we have now, is because of all these women before. So I wanted to thank them. And one of the first one is Jeanne of Arc. And I think it's totally crazy what we learn about her and what we've been told about her. And after, I have to tell everybody, and this is very important, it's not a biography, it's a comedy. I wanted people to learn some stuff, but first of all, I want people to laugh. I want the kids to see this movie. So I have to, even if I want to say something, that's what I do for when I do the comedian stuff, and when I go on stage, I say something, I make it funny, but there is something I want to say. And about Jeanne of Arc, I wanted really, really, very strong to give him back what I think she deserved. And I wanted people to see this movie that laugh and found it nice. So I think it's very funny to see a girl who punch guys like what she do all the time. And when we have the second part at the trio, and then the guys, and I told to the guard, okay, when you go and to attrape her, you're gonna take one back. She's gonna fight. So I wanted the guard to say, like, we have to go back, and then go back, and then she punched again.
Yeah, and
voila.
Thank you very much for that. It is so good to hear where you're coming from and the purpose of this character and the purpose of the like part of the message you're trying to get across. And thank you so much for that. And you've given me another way. When I rewatched the movie, I watched it again last night. Yeah, Jim and I probably we're really watching this movie a lot.
More.
Yeah, exactly. What's the deal with this minor bump in viewership in the middle of Canada? But I will watch it again after this conversation, because it's going to color or give me another layer of understanding. And so thank you. What else did we get wrong?
No, mostly I was very impressed because you read it very good, and I was very, very happy. I have to tell people how it works. Maybe they don't know how we met. I was I am in Paris right now in my apartment, and I have Twitter, and you tagged me on Twitter.
I did.
And I say, oh my God. And then I click on it, and I saw your show. And I send you a message to say thank you very much, because you said a lot of very nice stuff. And most of the good things were that you said that I worked a lot, because I have to tell people that it is a lot of work, and that's true. And I want people to understand that when you work a lot, you can succeed doing what you want to do, and that's what I did. I wrote 3 movies before this one, and this one is a good one because I've done it, and I'm really happy, and I work with a lot of wonderful people, but it's a lot of work.
An enormous amount of work.
Yeah,
having made my own short films, and yeah, I can only imagine. Jim, you had wanted. Oh no, I can't remember the question you wanted to ask. Ask away. I can't remember.
Well, there were several that we went over, but
one of the ones she triggered in me was that spark, that idea of spark. So,
we talked a little bit about birding earlier, bird watching, and I'll get to movies in a second. But one of the questions that people get is, what was your spark bird? What was the one that you saw the first time and really it made you want to pursue it further. So in that case, was there a movie or a piece of theater or a book or something that inspired you, not just a favorite, but one that made you think, I want to make movies too?
I think, and when I'm gonna tell you, you will maybe understand why. It's a Family Man.
Real like Nicolas Cage or
Okay,
no way.
And as you can see, we have a scene. I wanted to make people who know this movie because God, my God, is a black man, exactly like in Family Man.
Yep.
And also there is a scene
there's
in the car,
hook.
exactly the same,
Okay.
same scene in the car when he told her what's gonna happen, and it's this kind of homage because this is one of the movie I would love to have written. I loved it very much.
Yeah, that especially the courage of its ending. Jim, I don't know if you remember how it ended.
I don't like the end. I'm sorry. For me, I don't like the end.
But again, the courage of it though, the fact that all his choices still had consequences. Like he could have, and yeah, there's a part of me that's like, well, but I want it the other way. But as over time,
I love the beginning when he woke up in this house, he doesn't understand a word, and then kids on the bed, and then the dog, and then he look at that girl, and when he woke up, she was like, he was like this, trying to remember what he did last night. And then he woke up, and then the kid and for everybody, everything is normal. For him, it's nightmare. Then he met the parents and say, "Where is my Ferrari?" And say, "What, your Ferrari?" And then he take an old car, drive to his office, and then nobody knows him, and he's totally lost. And I said, "Oh, that's what we call I think a fish out of the bocal."
Yeah,
and this
fish
is
out of
one
water.
of the best, a fish of the water. And this is one of the best because we understand, we know. We are complice, and everybody's looking at this guy who doesn't understand a word, and this is so funny.
What do you think? It's also dreamlike. Like there's that panic that character has at the beginning is we've had those stories in our dreams where all of a sudden it's like I don't know where I am, but everyone else. Like it's the world is upside down or inside out.
Yes, and it's a shitty life. It's exactly what I don't want when you are in this big apartment with all the money and the Ferrari and everything, and you're looking to those people who have those kind of life, and you say, "Oh my God, never." And then after it, he understands all the good part of it, and he loved it, and he said, "Oh my God, and what is missing?" And I love because there is a strong message in this movie also, what I do love.
Yeah,
which is maybe. Love is more important than money.
Human connection.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is not unlike the situations you see in Quantum Leap, which you also mentioned you referenced Quantum Leap,
like directly
Flashback,
referenced it. Was it Quantum Leap and what was the other film in the
Highlander.
same line? Thank you,
Highlander.
Quantum Leap together,
so
which is awesome.
Yeah, but you have to know in the first vision, comment on dit, les premières version.
First flashback.
She was dying.
The first version.
She was dying. Okay, and she was dying all the time, and I wrote a lot of very funny stuff about her. Understand that she was dying, and every time she died, she wake up in another time. So she understands and say, okay, to go back to my life, I need to die. So she killed herself, looking at no, not yet, and she was killing herself all the time, and blah blah blah. And after, I wanted kids to see this movie, and I say maybe this is not a very good message to give kids. So I changed it, and now she was knocked, not killed, just knocked.
Yeah.
But even though she died also when she get drowned, so that's why she said I keep the Highlander truc, but it was written when she was dying all the time.
Gotcha.
And also what I love with comment dire l'autre, je suis code quantum. En français on dit code quantum. In French.
Spell it.
Continuity.
Oh.
No, the name of the show. Highlander and Code Quantum.
Highlander.
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap, voilà.
Yes,
in French, it's Code Quantum. And what I loved with this is that she woke up and she doesn't know where she is, because it's not in the right order.
Yes.
It's aléatoire.
Yeah.
Exactly like in the quantum leap. That's why she refers to this.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Scott Bakula would wake up and he'd go, "Oh boy," he'd
Yes.
look at himself in a mirror and he was a backup singer or something, and he'd,
with Ziggy.
Yeah. Yes.
And
yeah.
and
Rest in peace, Dean Stockwell.
what that oh fudge, it raises a couple of questions, but you know what, before we move forward, I do have a question in the chat, and this kind of refers back to Jeanne d'Arc. Richard L says, he says, Jeanne d'Arc is such a revered figure in France. Was there any negative reaction in France or elsewhere on how she was portrayed in the film?
No, I don't think so, because it's a comedy. So, when you do a comedy, I'm not telling the truth about Joan of Arc thing. I want to tell you people. And we have a problem in France also, is that Jeanne d'Arc is a major figure, but not of feminism at all, which is, I see, totally different in America. I think in America, she's known as a feminist, but not in France, which is for me a very strange thing. And we have also another problem, is that she has been taken as an égérie from the extreme, how do you say, extreme droite?
Extreme right. Yep. The Le Pen.
Extreme right.
The Le Pen view of the word.
Yeah, the Le Pen family, because it's a family. And during a long time, liking Jeanne d'Arc was a problem, because when you say I love Jeanne d'Arc, it means I love l'extrême droite. So we had a long work on it, and now she belongs again to the French people. But during a long time, she was like kind of the sign of the extreme droite, which was not what she deserved, and nobody asks. It's just the extreme right who decided to take her as a symbol.
So this is, in many respects,
because she put the stranger out of France.
Yeah. So this is that most hated stranger, the English.
In English, yeah.
That's fascinating. So in a lot of ways, going back to your characterization of her, it's about as much as taking the symbol, co-opting the symbol, reappropriating it for a feminist worldview.
Yes.
Okay,
I think she's very happy.
That I totally get.
And you're reclaiming her. You're taking her back.
Yes, exactly. I want to reclaim her as a woman, because what she did for women is amazing, and we have to say thank you to Jeanne d'Arc, and we have to give her back what she needs. It means a reconnaissance.
Mm-hmm. A bigger figure, more than just
as a feminist.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, well, Jim, thanks for asking that question, and I hope I believe Caroline has answered it. But if you need more clarification on anything, put it in the chat. Okay, so a couple of things you said, and I think that sort of gives me an idea of, and of course, folks, we have always been in the spoiler zone. The spoiler zone. Just in case everyone forgot. But we've been in it the whole time, but and I do also think this is a great opportunity to beg those who stumbled across our little show, and those already in the chat, is to maybe give a like. If they haven't already, subscribe. And last but certainly not least, ringy ding that bell. Got to have that promotional BS.
I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'm very happy that you are here.
Yes,
I did. As I was explaining before on the show, Jim and I kind of break it down into craft, story, and meaning. Although we've touched on a lot of these things already, I wanted to ask you, what a couple of things specifically relating to the craft of the thing, like your casting choices and that. But one of the things was because it seems to fit within part of one of the story lines, and the theme of the piece is about clothing, is about costume, and what that says. So how real did you get, like when you were I'm thinking of the Marie Curie time, or even middle 19th century with Georges Sand, where you like totally bound up and like kind of, I can't breathe. Were you itchy and wool, or how how real did you get? Or were you like, screw that, we are in the 21st century, make it look that way?
Well, first, at the beginning, when I wrote this movie, I knew that to have the comedy, to make people laugh, we need to do the person out of the water. So Charlie, the main character, must be in the real past. So I said to my producer, we have to make it the most realistic as possible. So for that, when you wrote, you said you can't have whatever you want. When I do Napoleon, I knew, oh, that's a good thing. I do Napoleon because I did it. But when I wrote about Napoleon, I knew
and it looked like everyone was enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it was nice. And there is no horses, no big war, no big boom, because we don't have money to do it. So when I wrote, I had already in my mind that I have to make it real. It must be possible and real and realistic in terms of money. And the biggest scene is in 1964 when she's kicked out of the bank, and we have one street with cars and stuff and people and the big bus, and we made an entire street in 1964. This is the most expensive decor.
Yeah, that's right. They were all wide. Like, you really covered that street. You could see the whole thing. Okay, sorry, I'm rudely interrupting.
And first we have a lot of work with the decoration, and also we go to the FX after to delete some stuff we can't because it makes people think that it's now. But after, when we talk about Napoleon, for instance, it's in one room. And we have the decor of the room of Napoleon, and then there is a small room with the maid and the corridor, and that's all. And there is no horses, no war, no boom, and it is in the same castle that Georges Sand. It's another place.
Oh,
and also
gotcha.
Cayenne is in the same castle also. In this castle, we rent this castle. We make a lot of different time, because the decoration is different, and to make we shoot in February and April, and Cayenne, which seems to be in a day where we are so hot. It was so cold. Then we pretend it's hot, but it's not, and we are all freezing like this. And as I say, action, and how we are hot. It's not. It's a movie. So when I wrote the movie, I knew that I'm gonna put some money in 1964, because you need in the movie, you need we say a decor with a big breast, and so you have cars, and you believe that she is looking everywhere, and this is 1964, and also some small area like Napoleon, like Georges Sand. Georges Sand is it's a big one in the jail.
Oh, yes.
And the corridor with because when she go down the stairs, it's always the same people. So it's a problem of rhythm. And when you shoot like this, she meets people at this moment, and then you have to make them come back from here and then go back there. And then with the cars in 1964, it's exactly the same. You have bus and cars and everything, and it's a job of people to make cars arriving exactly at the good time and always the same.
Your assistant directors were busy on those days.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
But
I wanted, for sure, I wanted it to be real, because if it's not, because first of all, my producer said, okay, maybe we can make kind of, which it's cheaper to do that, and it makes a joke. When we say faire la blague in France, means we know it's a comedy, so people are gonna buy it, even if it's not looking like the real past. And I said, no, it's not gonna work. And believe me, we need to believe that she is in the real past. So it was a lot of work with decoration. My chef deco. I don't know if you have seen this very nice movie. He made a lot of very nice French movie and he's very known in France. It's one of the best chef deco in France. And I have a lot. I am very happy to work with him.
The chef. Set
Chef
decoration,
décorateur.
production design. Gotcha.
Pierre Keffeléon. Voilà, his name.
Je comprends. I believe
Bravo.
so. I think I do.
So you were filming that in the 6th arrondissement, and that's where you live as well? Is that?
No, we film it in Paris and suburb of Paris, depending on when she woke up. When she woke up to meet Marie Curie, it's just in front of my apartment. It's on the l'île de la Cité.
Oh.
Because l'île de la Cité is very old, so you have not the modern building, and we need 1804, sorry. Non,
Yeah.
c'était quelle année Marie Curie? 1900.
1964
Je sais même plus.
or 1904.
Non.
Répétez, s'il
Marie
vous plaît.
Curie.
1906.
I'm sorry. I have a blank. How do you say blanc? I don't remember the dates for Marie Curie.
So it was 1904 or
I think it's
1906, but right, yeah.
1904 maybe. Well, I don't remember when.
Yeah.
Bon. En tout cas,
Doesn't matter.
we
Move
have
on.
to find a place in Paris when it looks like old time, and also for the French Revolution, we went to Senlis, which is a very old town in the suburb of Paris, and we found this street. There is everything is old, even on the floor.
Oh, when they were
Shoes.
putting up their placards.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh yes, yeah.
There's a couple
It's
of
very difficult to
revolutionaries.
shoot the old time because everywhere on the street and everywhere you have just one house which is something in glass or a lampadaire or a pharmacy. How do you say pharmacy?
Yeah, pharmacy.
A
Pharmacy
pharmacy. Yeah.
with a cross, the big cross in green, bling, bling, bling. And say, oh, God, there is a
Neon
cross. I can do
green.
that there. Exactly.
Not
neon
very
green.
1858 or 17.
But in 1964, we have a green cross, neon green, and she disappeared with
Visual effects.
Special effects. Yes.
Yeah. What you collaborated with another director on this, whose name I cannot remember now, because I'm a terrible human being.
Yale.
Say that again, Jim?
Was it Yael? Was it that person?
No.
I can't remember.
John.
Yael.
What was it? Oh, now I got to look it up. Now this is going to bug me.
Or is that the co-writer?
Well, she did. She
Yael
said,
Longman.
yeah.
This Yael Longman is one of my friends, and I asked her to read my script because she knows how to do movie and she knows structure. So she gave me tips about structuring the movie to make people having this go this way and then come back and then blah blah. And that's why. And she helped me for that, but I wrote it alone.
Yeah. Okay.
But she helped me with the
Okay.
structure.
Why am this is going to drive me absolutely crazy. Yeah. The Longman. Okay. So
Yael Longman.
Okay. All right. So, and she helped you just pulling together your script.
The structure. She wrote the first, and she said, "Okay, I wanted to give me tips about structure because she knows exactly how it works, and I'm more than artistic, than structural."
Gotcha.
So she helped me with the structure a lot.
Well, then that actually kind of is a perfect segue into story, because you did write this film. And it was one of the things I think we highlighted was, given it's a series of vignettes of episodes, sketches almost, the fact that there felt like an arc, really was a testament. I can't believe, Jim, we can actually refer to the script now because we have the person who wrote it. I'm sorry, Caroline, I've been quite militant about this on this show, and even when we've collaborated with other YouTube film types, we don't talk about the script because that's something I don't get to read. I get to see the story as it plays out on the film. What you wrote, correct me if I'm wrong, but even you have your 17 versions. Even then, I'm sure there was on the day when you're shooting the thing, it's like, okay, I'm going to tweak that because it's not playing, or oh, the producer just told me we can't have that. Oh, guess what? Tick, 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 tick.
Oh, there's a big. There is one thing in this movie. I'm gonna tell you a big secret. There's one thing I don't like in the movie is the 10 first minutes. And why? Because the opening scene we shoot. I wrote. It was very funny. We shoot it. It was very funny. And when I see it on the montage, or what do you say, montage?
Yeah, the montage and the edit, the cut, the edit,
yeah,
the final.
When you are in the dark room with your monteur, she's a woman, and she's putting the blah blah blah. And then I was looking, I said, okay, that's not funny. It's not working. It's not working. It says it's not working, and I say, oh my god, this is an opening scene of the movie, and it was shitty. So I spent maybe 3 weeks trying to write, trying to keep something there, and if I do that, what can I do? And it was a nightmare. And we changed a lot of things. So all the beginning of the movie was not supposed to do what it is now. And there is a lip problem when you see it. If you see it again, you will see that I do this, but there is another sound because I change everything in my mouth. And I know it. And every time I look at it, I'm like, God, I say it.
Oh, I mean, okay, I've made short films. So in no way am I putting myself at the same level, but I do know your pain. Like it's a small bit of pain because it's only when you've wrote it, it's genius. You're shooting it. It's like, God damn, I'm brilliant. And then you cut it and you go, and worse than that, you're sitting with somebody else and it's like, every error, every joke that doesn't land, everything. It's like needles in my eye. Like,
and when you go on Amazon, you know exactly that the 10 first minutes are crucial because if people don't like, they just stop it.
Yeah,
they don't look at your movie, and Amazon will know it after. Okay, everybody stop at 5 minutes. We're never gonna work with Caroline Vigneaux again because she doesn't know how to do a movie. So it's not like in a real movie theater because you're sitting, even if the 10 first minutes are not good, you go for it.
Where the hell are we going?
Are here, you pay, you have you didn't eat your popcorn, so you stay. But with Amazon and the other platform, and Amazon and I know I know how important is it to make a good start and a good end. And if there is something wrong, put it in the middle. But not the beginning scene. No way. So it was like, oh my God, I was crying, trying to find the solution. And I did something which is not that bad, but it's not good. And I know it. And I know that if I shoot it again, the beginning of my movie will be much more better than it is. That's life.
Jim, that rings a bell. You had mentioned you were curious about the streaming platform and how that exposes the work.
Well, yeah,
and after that, we're going to praise a scene that was in the middle that I thought was goddamn genius. But anyway.
Here in Canada, we have one French TV channel. Sometimes we get French movies in the theater. And for a place that's essentially kind of I live in the French neighborhood of Winnipeg. So my neighbors are both French. Oh, and the river at the end of my block is called the Seine. So Seine. Oh. Yeah. Very different than you're saying though, but in any case,
it's an overgrown creek.
Yeah, but it's very beautiful. I've seen 80 species of birds there. But anyway, so I was wondering about streaming services. So you see things like Lupin and Call My Agent, which is 10% in French, in France, and even Squid Game from Korea.
Persepolis.
A lot of foreign language TV series or movies are given. It's almost like they have greater distribution because of streamers. Are you getting the sense of that? Like, do you think that would benefit you, or this is proof?
Look at us.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
This is proof. We are the proof.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wish everybody look at my movie like Lupin or like Squid Game. I'm not sure because my telephone is not ringing, so I don't think so. But even so, being with you guys talking about movie, we don't know each other. You are in Canada, I'm in Paris. This is a dream. Every time I receive a message with a social network from Italy, people are writing to me and saying, "Oh, thank you, I love your movie," and say, "Oh my God, gracias." Because I don't speak very good foreign language. As you can see, my English is not that good, and I like that.
You speak English well enough that you could be German as you apologize for your wonderful English.
Ich habe Deutsch gelernt.
There you go. I also speak great tourist German. But
yes.
Yeah, I'm not showing that off here. Showing off.
So that's a great chance to have my movie seen all around the world. But the part which is difficult that you don't know who is watching your movie. Mm-hmm. You have no clue.
Yeah.
And my movie is like a son. He has his own life now.
Yes.
He doesn't belong to me, and I don't know who's
gonna
met. No, exactly.
But
I received our full
review.
Comments.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Comments.
Mostly, also even from feminists, which is as amazing, saying that I am not feminist enough, or that my feminism is not the good one, or I love when people criticize when you do something, but they don't do anything. They just criticize what you do, which is not in the good way. It's not strong enough. It's too strong. It's not blah blah blah.
Well,
okay.
Being only slightly of a smartass, I think Jim and I's show, if you're looking at it from from one lens, what Jim and I do is really, a cynic could say, two middle-aged white men talk about films that would have been better if they made them. Because you watched us. We had no problem laying down what we liked, what we didn't like. Why did she do that?
I loved it. I love people thinking about what I thought when I did this. I think you, I don't remember what you said, but I remember you talk about my choice for God, which is a man, and he's black. And a lot of people told me, you missed something. You should have put a woman. And all the time I said, did you think I never thought about it? Mm-hmm. I thought about it. I choose a black man for a fucking good reason. I can't say that word.
Oh, it's okay.
English. I think I've said it a couple of times already.
Okay,
knock your boot,
France,
fill your boots.
It's kind of a comma when you say that like a comma, yes. All the time. We call en France c'est putain, and we do all the time. But so I decided to put a man because first of all it was a man and not a woman. Even if I think that God is a woman. And I thought it would have been nice to put God as a woman, but if I met a woman, it was a woman explaining to a woman what feminism is. And it was like an entre-soi. And I wanted to be more humanist than this. And I think it's very interesting that a man is explaining a woman what is feminism. And that's why I pick a man and I never change. And I didn't want a woman because I think a woman... most of the women should be feminist. If it's not the truth, it should be. And a man with a feminist, I think it was good. So that's the first one. And then a black, because I think I love, how do you say, this movie with God with a black man, very famous actor.
Jim Carrey and Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
Morgan Freeman always played
Morgan
God.
Freeman. Yeah. And because I think God is black is better than God is white for the, like you guys, white, middle-aged men. So let's put it black. I'm
outraged.
Well, I will say, like, it's it's interesting you brought that up. We, on occasion, we have a friend of mine, Catherine from Ottawa, on our show, like as a co-host, and I did ask her to join us when we first looked at this movie, and I described it. I'm like, it could be problematic. It is the way Jim and I look at a movie. We'll watch the movie. We try and watch it without doing too much research because we want to first kind of get the movie, eh? And I did is like when you just look at the log line, you just look at it's like kind of, ooh, that's an interesting choice to have a man explaining feminism to a woman. But this is kind of maybe dipping back into craft, and I don't know how you feel, Jim, but I think part of the reason that did work, like it played well, notwithstanding our very North American based concerns about the magical Negro trope, was the casting. The guy is so Issa, is that his first name?
Issa.
Thank you. Issa
Doumbia.
Yeah, he was so he was so gentle, so friendly. You do not get that Old Testament vibe off of him. He doesn't seem to even patronize. It was just a great. Hats off to you for great casting because he delivered that. I don't know. What do you think, Jim? Sorry.
Yeah.
As you said, she is a pain in the ass. She is a nightmare, and she is there. So I need people around her to be nice and to make her change.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was great. Just watching it yesterday again. I sort of was able to appreciate that as well. What Rob was just saying, that there's no sort. He almost has Charlie. He doesn't guide her too much. I mean, of course, he's interrupting her path, but he
literally driving her from one thing to the next.
Yeah, but he doesn't sort of tell her how to think, right? So that's she's allowed to come up with the conclusions on her own. But he's just got that benevolence. He's very benevolent.
Yeah.
Rather than the sort of the angry god. So that was interesting.
Yeah. What before we move on to the meaning, as we're going way over time, before we go into the meaning, though, I did want to ask you. I don't know if I'm not sure I actually have a question for you here, Caroline, but I wanted to talk about it. Was the so from the moment we see Georges Sand, from the I could imagine if she had come out of the shadows as a guy, it'd be like the tone of that scene and scenes afterwards would change. Although in the second viewing, she was like, she helps her out, bit of solidarity, and then she's like, anyway, see you later. And it's your character, it's Charlie that's the one who's I should wait.
But she's alone. She doesn't know anybody. And what she said, you have to find someone who's gonna help you. Say, I don't know anybody in Paris. No, in this time,
not now. Or she knows them as figures in history books. But she, everything about that could have changed, like in tone. I think I even mentioned it in when Jim and I first looked at it, was the, and I do have a question here. There will be a question. Is even in the moment when, seduction may not be quite the right word. It's maybe a little too heavy, but there's a moment where George is like, I got to put a move. I'm making my move. And the way you played your character and everything, it could have been a totally different vibe. And I'm wondering what your intent was. Like, this is how I reacted. It's like kind of, okay, that could have been frightening, but okay, I get it. then at the when they get back to her castle, her manse, her chateau in the country, that moment where it's like,
Château de Nolan.
merci.
C'est le Château de Nolan is the name of the house.
Okay, I hope Richard is in the chat taking a note of
But
that,
it's not,
because
it's
we're
not
going to
the
go check
Château
that
de
out.
Nolan. Hein? It's not, we didn't shoot at the Château de Nolan. It's a big house pretending it is the Château de Nolan.
Okay, I understand. But anyway, what was the vibe? What were you trying to, beyond the moment, beyond the communication of the bare facts of it, what was the intent? Like, I mean, I was like, kind of, this is the steamiest scene of the whole, which says a lot about me as well. But I really did find that it's like, ooh, this is hot. Like that was a hot scene. But I'm kind of wondering what you were going for there. I did have a question.
First of all,
Jim.
I wanted people to know that Georges Sand is not a man.
Yep.
She's a woman. Because for French people, sadly, Georges is a name of a man. So people think that Georges Sand is a man. So that's the first thing. And most of that, and what I said in the movie, it's true that Georges was one of the women who have this paper making her having the right to wear pants.
Yeah.
Sorry. So as we have the story about the pants with Jeanne d'Arc, I wanted to make a difference, to make people understand how many level women have been through to have the right to wear whatever they want today. But thanks to those women.
Yeah.
So this was a kind of a level. And also Georges Sand, she was bisexual. And for me, I can't do a feminist movie without talking about woman loving woman, because being gay in our terms is not very easy, and in Paris mostly it's maybe easier than in the center of the France, but even in Paris there are part of area where it's difficult, and you can be beat just because you are homosexual. And women homosexuality is worse. I mean, it's not c'est encore moins accepté. How do you say that?
Not accepted, not socially accepted.
Not at all. And I have another comedian, a French comedian I love, and she's my model. And I'm not talking about her because you don't know her, but she had to hide this.
You can mention. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was going to say you can mention her name. We can look her up later, but my apologies. Continue.
No. It's Jacqueline Maillan.
Okay.
Voilà. She's dead now, and she was very famous in France. And,
okay.
And she was homosexual. Nobody knows it because in this times it was a nightmare being an homosexual woman. Even it's not very easy to be a homosexual man, it was less easy, if I can say that, to be a woman. So I said, in my movie, I'm gonna say that if you love a woman and you're a woman, it's not a problem. You can do it. It can be nice. It can be lovely. And even if my character doesn't want to go through it, because she doesn't want to, she's and this is very important for me. And when I shoot it and when I cut it, I was very, very cured, because I wanted to be sure that there is no ambiguity, that it's not a rape or it's not a sexual harassment, because I wanted to be nice and lovely and make it not a point. I wanted to people understand that it's as usual, and you can love whatever you want. If you want to love woman and you're a woman, you can. If you're a man, you love woman. If you're a man, you love woman or men or whatever. And I think that having this scene, which making not a point about homosexuality, it's just a person who likes another person, and she's a strong woman. And when I direct, I love saying what I'm gonna say. When I direct the name of my actress, Suzanne Clément, sorry. When I direct Suzanne Clément, I told her, you're a strong woman, you're Georges Sand, and I am a woman who is learning a lot of stuff. And you're gonna learn me, and you're gonna give me your force, because you know what you want and you go straight for it. Yeah. That's why she was like, I told her le mot panthère, you know the animal, panthère?
Panther. Yeah. She was stalking her prey.
Literally, yeah.
Exactly. So she comes
without
and
though
this is
feeling creepy.
no,
Yeah.
no, I didn't want to, and I wanted to make people think that and understand this is natural, normal. This is not ugly. This is not voilà. This is not a point of view. This is not a point. She wants to because she likes this person. It's two person who likes each other, and one is more aware or more
Assertive.
strange. Yes, assertive than the other one because she doesn't know and she's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what to do. Oh, okay. Oh, it's gonna do like this, and they are having a nice party in this nice castle, and the decoration was amazing. And even if she's playing the piano, you have to know she's not playing for real. She's doing like this, like, see, okay, look at me, and I'm playing the piano.
That part I didn't catch.
That was so nice, and it was not easy because not easy to kiss. It's not about woman or man, because what I did with her or what I do with Napoleon is when it's intimacy. We are not intimate. It's two actors, so it's kind of
with a
difficult,
crew
but
and
she
lights
is-
and cables.
Yes, everywhere.
Yeah.
But I was dressed, so it was easier than with Napoleon, which I was totally nude. No, I got my pants, my little pants, on the culottes.
You know, little culottes.
When you say culottes,
Okay, in Manitoba,
how do you say
they're almost
culotte in
like
English?
bloomers. Like the ones you were
Bloomers?
wearing in that scene were
Okay.
almost like bloomers. I don't know, we'd call
Okay.
them panties. Like they're too,
Panties.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Too much
fluff
material,
there.
I think.
Yeah, too much material.
Voilà, that's why I shoot this, because I wanted people to understand that there are women who love women. This is not a problem, and it's how it has to be in our terms. Voilà.
Gotcha. No, great. Jim, did you, before we get into the meaning, I did have another question for her on the story itself, some of Caroline's choices. Did you have any other questions story-wise, or?
Well, I was just in our first review, I referenced. Well, first of all, it's all about sort of teaching people and entertaining them at the same time, which I can imagine is a little bit tricky. I referenced The Simpsons, and Bart Simpson is playing a video game where he's destroying the state capitals, which is teaching him the state capitals. And he says, wait a minute, I'm learning things. So, you know, there's a balance between entertainment and teaching, and I think people are aware of that. But it seems to be nicely balanced here. Did you find that tricky, just getting that tone where you're teaching people and entertaining them at the same time?
That's what I do in my show.
In your one-woman show,
yes,
Yeah.
one woman show. I do the same thing as I sing as an artist. That I have the chance that people are listening to me, and my duty, that's what I think, is to give people something to learn. Après, they do whatever they want with what I say. I'm not saying you have to sing that. I said, okay, what it was like this. What do you think? I think this is funny, and I'm gonna tell you why this is funny, because I make jokes. But after people say, yes, that's, oh my God, is it true? Oh yes, that's true. And they make like you did sometimes. They try to look at this. Say, is it true that this person say that or that happened? So I think I'm a little sand in a good way to make people maybe understand more the terms where we are, why, and who we must think for. And after, I know that we are now. It's difficult to say people, okay, sit, I'm gonna tell you about the story about feminism. Even me, and I'm not sure. I say, oh, sorry, I have to go to the swimming pool right now. But if you say, I'm gonna make you laugh, sit down, I'm gonna make you laugh. This is a
We gotta
comedy.
wax
Say,
the
okay,
Venetian
you take your popcorn,
blinds.
yeah. And then you learn, and you don't know you learn because you laugh.
Yeah,
And also my dream is that kids look at it. Because I want kids to know who is Olympe de Gouges, to know who is Nicolas de Condorcet, Georges Sand, Gisèle Halimi, which are very important person, and kids, when they look at my movies, they know the name. Say, oh yes, and I have a lot of messages of people who are telling me, oh, thank you very much, because according to your movie, I talk about this in my test, and I said, yes,
oh,
this
wonderful!
Is true. And,
yeah.
Yes, I'm so happy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even I was looking up some of the reviews, just even on Twitter, to your recent show, in Paris there, and I think one of them said, "Oh, thank you for teaching me, Caroline," and comments like that. So so it's it's sort of your natural way to go from your one woman show
That's
to
what I
your
love. That's what I
yeah.
love, and I think it's well, when I was a lawyer, I knew I was doing something for other people, and I was, how do you say, utile? Comment on dit utile en anglais? Useful. I was useful, and I knew it because people needs me in front of the judge, and I was useful. And according to me, for my life, I need to be useful. And when I decided to change and to go on stage, I said, "Oh my God, maybe I'm not gonna be useful anymore, and then maybe I'm gonna miss someone. I miss something, and maybe I shouldn't stop being a lawyer because I need to be useful." And when I discovered that I was maybe more useful, making people laugh and telling them stuff they don't even know. At the end of the show, I explained to people why I am feminist, and at the end of the show, I said, "And now I know why that you are also feminist, even if you didn't know it, or worse, even if you didn't want it." And most of people, they send me message, they're waiting for me at the end and say, "Oh, if it's feminist is like this, I am a feminist." And I say, yes, this is feminist. Feminist is just equality between men and women. And even if there are extremists in this movement, like in every movement, don't forget what people did before and why we have the liberty we have now. And in the United States of America, you are going through a big problem with what's happening in Texas with abortion.
Okay, remember we're in
I am
Canada.
looking at it.
I want to underline
Yes,
Canada. That border.
You're right.
I mean,
there is a border.
yeah. That border actually does, like, especially like. You know what? We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. So I'm going to shut up and let you finish your statement. I just wanted to really kind of underline that, and I do still have a story question. Jim jumped ahead, so I want to get that one in too. But anyway, continue, Caroline.
No, I'm okay. That's what I said. I think it's very important for me. And I love when I decide I choose something. I read a lot and I make notes and say, okay, I want to say that. I want to go there. And then after it, I say, okay, how can I talk about this? Not being annoying, but being funny. And I'm looking for, in my head, to make funny stuff with the real material.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And when I wrote this movie, first of all, I say, okay, who are the person I want to talk about? And there are a lot of characters. I don't have the blast because it's only 1.5 hours, and I have to choose. It was a nightmare to choose. Like Josephine Baker, she comes in, comes out, comes in, comes out, and at the end she comes out, and I said, oh my God, I love Josephine Baker, but it didn't fit it.
Yeah.
That, like, I wanted to ask that. Like, it seems to me, Caroline, that you chose all these moments, except for maybe the caveman, the prehistoric era, moments where you have little petty villains. Cochon would be a perfect example, like a dangerous, lecherous creep of a man, and a big thuggish bully on top of that. But otherwise, it's all systemic, and everything seems to either rotate around a law, like an actual legal moment. There's Napoleon writing the writing the civil code, or there's some bureaucratic paperwork that Georges Sand is submitting to, so it's all systemic, and it's all about like a specific legal restriction, imposition on a woman, including the court system and how rape is approached. All these legal moments. Was there any part of French feminist history, where you're like, you couldn't get it in, or it just didn't quite fit? I'm kind of wondering whether it be the literal cutting room floor, or it was in one of your previous versions of the script and you're like, this doesn't work. Like, I'm looking for a couple of moments that we could maybe study up on now.
So in a huge one, and I tried, I fight so long, months after months fighting, and my producer always told me, okay, we keep it for this version, but listen to me. It's gonna disappear, and it disappeared. It was in 1914, 1914, First World War.
Yeah.
1914, yeah.
Okay, so women are fighting for the right to vote, which we're gonna have in France after the Second War. But just before the First War, women in England, what we call the suffragettes, were very active, and in France also a little bit, not as in England, but also. And they were fighting, and they made one of the most important demonstration in the streets of women in 1914. And they were like 6,000 or 8,000, I don't remember. And they were in Paris. And so there are photography of this period, and I bought some. And they walk with a flower in their hands, and they put the flower on the feet of the statue of Nicolas de Condorcet.
Really?
You know what? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I love this scene because it was Nicolas de Condorcet. Because at this time, women knew that Nicolas de Condorcet was a feminist, which now it totally disappeared. Nobody knows Nicolas de Condorcet in France anymore. But in 1914, they knew it, so that's why they decided to walk, and as a symbol, they put flower on the feet of the statues of Nicolas de Condorcet. And Nicolas de Condorcet statues in most versions have a lot of stories. And because you have to know that Nicolas de Condorcet at the Second War has been taken by the German to be changed on a canon.
Canon. They repurposed him.
Yes, because they took all the statues in I don't know the name of the metal.
No, they took the statues and turned them into cannons.
Exactly.
Okay. That would have been
literally. Okay.
What Russian? That would have been the Prussian, like Paris Commune era, like the Prussian Franco-Prussian War, right? Yeah,
so I told
because they rolled into town, they steal everything, the rich off. Sorry, I was.
And the statue of Nicolas de Condorcet is one of the few which has been done again, and exactly the same. But in Paris, when you walk and you see all the, the wall, you put the statue on it. It's written like Mr. of the General, blah, blah, blah. And there is something else because they didn't do it again. So they put something modern on it, but there is just the name of the statue that has been taken by the German to put it in cannons.
I would love...
Nicolas de Condorcet...
that would have been World War II,
Nicolas de Condorcet is one of... I've been do it exactly on the same. So my regret is that I would have loved to shoot the 1914 demonstration of women.
Yeah.
And there is a link also with Nicolas de Condorcet, and also another link with the Révolution Française, because what she said when they are putting the affiche on the wall.
Yeah.
She said that there is what is this La Marche des Femmes. Women March, because nobody knows about the Women March, which is one of the three acts, fundamental acts of the French Revolution. La prise de la Bastille, with the Bastille was a big jail, and they took it. And we have a big Place de la Bastille in France, in Paris. It's very famous. Le serment du jeu de paume, which is where they play tennis with the hand, and they make a serment, the vow. It's very famous. And the Women March, totally forgotten. Women in Paris have so...
I'm not saying this to kiss your ass, but I knew about the Women's March.
Thank you very much.
I'm not saying this to kiss your ass. I think it's like, I'm kind of shocked that no one does. Like, if this middle-aged white guy... Okay, here's my comment. Here's my comment on the state of perhaps French education. How can this Anglophone, middle-aged white guy from the middle of Canada know about, like, I was not, like, it even kind of surprised me in the story when it's, well, nobody knows about this. And I'm like, I don't know, I knew about it. And who the hell am I? Like, it's not something, I shouldn't be thanked for that. I am just, like, I'm the lightest of students of French history. Like, it's not, I can't say I've some huge deep dive, and I knew it. So
maybe you had
that's
good
what
professor.
I mean.
I don't know.
No, this is
But
yeah, that's
the thing is that it was the first women march in the Révolution française, and the second one was in 1914. So when the women in 1914 said, "Oh, we're gonna make the biggest march," and Charlie was saying, "No, it's not the first one; it's the second one. I have seen the first one."
which would have been a great moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my producer told me, okay, 6,000 women in Paris working to put some flower on the feet of the statues, which is in a very, very difficult area to shoot because it's what you call les quais. The Paris is a big place. When we shoot la statue of Nicolas de Condorcet, we had a little grue, arm like this, and we didn't stop the cars. But if you have
so
to
you're
stop
using a crane.
No, too much money. So he told me this is not possible. And you have to put 6,000 women with dresses and change everywhere in the street when they're walking. So he told me, no way you can't do that.
But you can keep it in your script for as long as possible before reality sets in.
Yes, I tried.
Gotcha.
I tried.
Okay. Well, that's like, a wonderful anecdote. Maybe. And I'll have to look it up. I'll drag Richard and Katie along with me when we go check it out in Paris.
Yeah.
It's like I got to see this. I have to see this place.
Call me when you come in Paris. We go together.
Will do. Absolutely. All right. We have really abused your time, but I do like. I'm greedy for your time. I wanted to ask you, like it is, I do think that this is in many ways an act of solidarity with the past. But you also, and you've touched on this a bit, but when people watch this movie, what are you hoping, how do you hope this changes them? What are you hoping a viewer of the film does the next day? Or in their future, what do they do? What do they do? Whether it be a new thought or what are you hoping how this impacts the audience?
I love that they understand why feminism exists, and they understand that how important it is. And because sometimes even women, we have rights and we think it's normal, and then we forgot how much other women have fight for sometimes have been dead for us to have those rights. So I would like to understand that it's our duty to continue to fight to make people more equality. And I'm talking about women, but I think the other big thing is also homosexuality, because even in France, they don't have the same right, which is totally crazy for me. Yeah. Can you imagine? First, you don't have the same right because of the color of your skin. I was like, you know it. Then we fight for it. Okay. Now it's because of your sex. You're a woman or woman. And now it's because of your sexuality. Tell me what you are doing in your bed, and I will tell you what rights you have. You have the same duty, but you have the same rights just because you're having sex this way. What? Do whatever you want. If two persons are agreed, they can do whatever they want. And there's nothing to do with a social something decided by somebody who tell you this is right, this is not good, this is morality, this is not morality. And according to me, when you see this movie from the past, which is having a pants now, it's so easy that you don't remember that women fight for it. And when you look at the reason why they didn't want to give women the right to vote, this is so crazy, saying that we are too dumb to know what to vote for this or for that. We are too stupid. And now you see all what we have to do in the world. Look, Afghanistan. Look at what is happening in Ukraine with the rape of Ukrainian women. This is not funny, but feminism is not over. I wish it is. And there is no difference between a man and a woman, but this is not true. In Pakistan, you get married when you're a woman. In Nepal, you can't go in school if you have your periods. As I said, in the United States of America, in Texas, you can get an abortion after 6 weeks. And if you know that a woman have an abortion after 6 weeks and you call the police, you get $10,000
a bounty.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Afghanistan. We're talking about the United States of America. And it's getting worse and worse. So it's what I want people to know, that women's rights, women fight for those rights. And we have to thank them, and we have to be vigilant, because we shouldn't go back. What is happening in the United States, they go back. And we should fight for other country who needs help. Because there are a lot of women in the world, in France also. In France, we have the problem that women and men are not paid the same. And there are every 2.5 days, a woman die killed by her husband or man who she's living with, which is a huge problem. In Spain, they solve it. But in France, it's like kind of cultural that a woman is belonging to a man, and when he killed her, that's, oh my God, he must have been so sad because she wanted to left. This is awful. And in France, when you kill your wife, you get less prison than when you kill your neighbor, because there is a kind of dramatic, nice things. And this is a crime.
Yeah.
It's just a crime. Point. C'est tout. And we have to continue this. And I think that we are living in the best world now. And according to me, a movie can change the world. I'm going to give you an example. I'm sure you know 24 Hours.
Yes. With Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy, right?
No.
No. That's 48 Hours.
24 Hours. Kiefer Sutherland. That
exactly. Do you remember
rather
when we
disturbing
saw the first American president? He was black. Robert Palmer. And they said, oh my God, they put a black president, and it was like, oh wow, it was like incredible. They are crazy. And after 2 seasons, there is an American president. He's black. We don't care.
I would
Every
actually.
day in our salons,
I would go earlier.
Sure,
oh, sorry, Caroline. Then.
And I'm sure that if Barack Obama has been the first black American, it's also because of 24 Hours. Because for most people, it was normal. They have break the wall to come in your apartment, seeing an American, and he was a good one also, an American black president. Okay, after 2 years, he's in your apartment, it's happened. So when it comes to reality, it's not as shocking as it has been shocking when you have seen it 2 years before in the movie. That's my point.
Yeah. I'm going to push back a little there, Caroline. I actually think you can go earlier in American film. Deep Impact, which came out in the early aughts, with your guy, Morgan Freeman, as the president. I think that was the first one where it was like it in a big, like, this is a big Steven Spielberg epic. All of the things that I think American film does incredibly well. And there was Morgan Freeman, and it was the gravitas he brought. It was an assault on every stereotype. And almost like Barack Obama just kind of fulfilled the promise that was in that film.
Et les chroniques de Bridgerton, là. Bridgerton Chronicle, j'imagine, in English.
Chronicle, history.
Bridgerton. No, it's a show on Netflix.
Bridgerton. Yeah.
And first, when I saw it, oh my God, they put black everywhere, and that's not a problem. And it's not right in the Thames, because on those Thames it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But it's cool. And that's a fucking good idea, because now, for people being black or white, there is no difference. Mm-hmm. And that must be like this.
Well, perhaps not. Maybe in Texas.
But there's a lot of work, and I think a movie and an artist must go and use their art to make our world better, and this is a good way. And that's what I wanted to do with my little movie, trying to make a better place.
Contributed to leave the place a little better than you found it, which is a wonderful artist intent. And I know for us, like we're okay. I shouldn't say, I don't want to speak for Jim. But I said it before, I'll re-emphasize it. One of the great things about your film, even though it's bookended by an act of violence, it's nested within multiple acts of violence, but the act of violence of rape, and then the smear of, well, she was asking for it, which is a classic. I'm going to call it a trope, and I don't mean that to downplay it, but it is. This is, court is as much about narrative and the story of the evidence, right? And that's like, it's a way to kind of twist the facts to fit a narrative that puts her in the wrong. But notwithstanding that, I felt at the end of the film lighter. Like it was, and we had watched, Jim and I had watched these, a couple of other films. One actually that was shot locally that was like, I think we called that a big fail, didn't we, Jim? Nobody?
Yeah.
Like a competently made, toxic celebration of
violence and
especially male, like that, very much a very gendered, behaviors. And then even the Batman, which is a word, like, I mean, it has a lot to say, and it's not a bad film. Like, I think we both maybe not praised, but we thought it was a good film. To see yours, it was just it's like, this is positive. People are enjoying themselves. Like they're talking about things that are real, that any human being could kind of go, yeah, that actually has an effect. That I've seen that in my life. I've heard about that in my life. But that I came out of it feeling lighter, not, like, oh, it's going to take a while to wash out of my brain's palate. So
This
yeah,
is a
I
comedy.
think yeah.
First of all, it's a comedy, and it was very important for me. And when you say people, okay, I'm going to talk about rape, and it's going to be a comedy, say, what? Say, believe me, I can do it. And you have to watch it. I don't know if you did it, guys, but you have to watch it until the end, but the end. Just before what we call the déroulant, because there are...
the credits. When you put the pictures of everybody, like your key cast, so you see the painting of Condorcet.
Just after it, there are two archives.
Oh,
did you see it?
That's what you meant by that. I thought you were talking about the credits. I don't like a cut scene at the end, like.
No, it's not cut scene. It's archive. It means real stuff.
Oh, archive.
I put at the end of the movie. Yes, archive.
Okay, like an archive picture.
So you didn't see it?
Did not see it. I was too busy looking for the union.
Very strong, very important.
Yeah.
You missed the key of the movie.
Uh-oh.
And I know I made a mistake because I think a lot of people are not going to see it. And I made it like if you were in a theater and you know that until the light on, you have to stay.
You're waiting for the Marvel post-credit scene.
Exactly. There is two in my movie.
It's a superhero movie.
Well, there's yet another reason to watch the movie again. Okay, we'll definitely check that out. Yeah. Know what?
You're going to see the first one is very important because it's the key of the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let you discover it. Yeah. And the second one is more funny. But the first one, you're going to say, oh my God.
Oh, wait, no. I do know what you're referring to. It's the Irish, super poignant.
So you've seen it.
Very, like, I mean, and it hits, right? Just that, especially as the Irish member of parliament, or like, what do they call it in Ireland, right? I cannot remember what they call the parliament.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's holding up the thong, and there's the speaker trying to shut her up. It's like, oh, it's one of those moments and I kind of like the way the Germans look at it. I benefit from this system, from this systemic. So it's always, but it's one of those moments where it's like, if I ever kind of thought, these are the moments where, for any man who thought, well, I don't know, this feminists really kind of get on the thing, you just have to watch that and go, oh, they totally have a point. This is embarrassing. And then and I'm even getting misty now. It's not just that moment, but all the, you intercut a bunch of pictures and statements of
That's right, too,
women protesting this and how the thong isn't consent, that just gets you. Like just totally like gets you here. Much like Halimi's her summation, her argument, which that idea of exploitation on top of exploitation, that she calls out the class bias, or let's say the class multiplier. For thinking of video games, but at the same time she says, I don't see your wives or mistresses, but at the same time she doesn't say, well, we don't have to worry about them, they are being exploited as well. It's a different flavor, let's say. But
I'm happy you've seen it. And the second one is the guy who is reading the law.
Yes.
About the fence.
The original and I was kind of wondering, where was that originally from? Like, is he reading it, like he's reading it straight?
I don't know. I make some research to find we call the INA, which have all the movies, all image. Yeah. When I found it, I said, oh my God, this is too cool. I have to put it at the end, Yeah. But the first one, the Parliament, was very important for me because I think that people, when they look at the movie, first they think that I invent the story about the thong, which is so crazy that I have to invent it. No women lawyer will ever say that. And at the end of the movie, you discover I didn't invent anything. I took a real stuff and I put it in the mouth of my character, Charlie. But there is, in our terms, right now, a woman who is a lawyer in Ireland who say that and who win. Which is totally crazy.
Yeah.
Voilà.
Woof.
There we go.
Well,
en tout cas, merci beaucoup de m'avoir interviewé. Je suis désolée pour mon anglais terrible. Mais la prochaine fois, on le fera en français.
No.
Yeah, you're wonderful. You speak more languages than we do, so that's...
I'm rolling my eyes a little right now. It's like talking to a German, as they forever articulately and in English apologize for their bad English, and you're like, you speak my language better than I do. Enough with the Entschuldigung.
Do you think I think I have a totally awful French accent, even if I try to pretend I'm not.
No, it's working here.
French accents are
okay. Thank you.
Listen, I do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Before we wrap everything up, I've got a couple of things, and Caroline, if you wouldn't mind hanging out with us just for a few minutes in what we call the digital green room after we shut this down. But first of all, I did want to shout out Jim. We got Dragon Movie Guy in the house.
Hey,
DMG,
Brian.
our good friend. He does have a question for you. And he says, is it... do you think it's easier or harder to get a movie with a message? Like it's a political movie. Do you think it's easier to get it made in France or the US? And then he makes a comment about, a movie that isn't necessarily to make money. And I'm like, I would disagree with that, but what's your take on that question? How would you answer that?
I can't say about in US or France because I'm not like I've been one movie. I call myself a director, but every time I say I'm an imposter. So no, I don't know. The only thing I know is very difficult to make a comedy with sense because most Amazon was a dream because they said, oh, that's what we are looking for. We're looking for intelligent comedy. But I have heard a lot of producer and everything when I talk about my story at the beginning and say, no, this is too intelligent for comedy. This is not too intelligent. Olympe de Gouges, nobody cares about Olympe de Gouges. People don't want that. It's very strange to hear people saying, I know what people want, and this is not this. Take something dumb. They like dumb stuff. And I said, no. All the time I said, no, stop it. Stop giving people dumb things because the things they want dumb. That's not true. They want to laugh, so make something laugh, okay? Make something funny. but you can be brilliant. Well, I'm not thinking I'm brilliant. I'm talking about other projects, but you can be intelligent, brilliant, or say, and funny, or sad, or making emotion. But comedy doesn't mean dumb. You can do dumb comedy, and I love it.
Bill and
Sometimes I just
Ted's
want to see it.
Bill and Ted did
Dumb and
the
Dumber.
exact same thing 3 times, like
Yeah.
for crying out loud. And there's nothing joyously dumber than Bill and Ted. But also, I'm wondering, like you as a director, you've done it once more than I have. Like you
Maybe
get
the
to
last
call
time, we
yourself
don't know.
that. Well, yeah, but even then, you still get to go.
Yes,
Oh, I've
right.
directed a
Yeah,
movie.
exactly.
I have an
You can-
opinion on
yes.
that. But I'm
yes,
wondering, when you hear that, does part of your brain kind of, short circuit? Because all I can think is like, somebody who says that to you is like, oh, do you not understand story? It's not actually about Olympe de Gouges. And I'm not saying that you don't have a message there. It's about this lawyer who's got her head so far up her ASS that she is ignoring her past, like the past that put her there. That's who it's about. And that's just right with comedy. That is the heart of comedy. Take an idiot and put them through such experiences that they change in a comic way. What do you, like, I got to admit, there's a part of me that's like, that's a stupid statement. And I'm not a director. And I can, again, let us go back to the middle-aged white guy in Winnipeg. Yes, I was born and raised here, but I know that it's no big deal of a city. It has a much
No, but
higher
you liked
opinion
my
of
movie,
itself.
but there are a lot of people who didn't like it. We're all different.
Yeah.
And
Well, but that's a matter of taste. I'm more like just thinking about the idea of story, and what a comedy is taking like you say, it's a fish out of water story at its heart.
exactly.
That it happens to have a feminist philosophical point of view is important. I think a movie has to have meaning. It's the way it makes it good, that there's some heart in it, some true meaning. But in the end, it's also just a funny movie. It's funny to see you go through those tortures. Like,
Yes, and that's exactly what I said. I said it's a comedy. When they say, "Well, that's not true," because and there are some stuff who are not true. I arranged because, for instance, Napoleon, when he wrote the code, it was 1804. Okay, but when he had the story with the black woman, he has kids with her, which is a true story, Esther. It was at the end of his reign when he was in jail. But for me, I wanted to talk about it because it's about women who have kids with their master.
Yeah.
And with Napoleon it was good. So I said, okay, it's a comedy. I do whatever I want. And if it's like 30 years and I put it in the same area, that's okay. That's a comedy. It's not a biopic.
Yeah. Well, and most biopics are pretty edited, let's say.
Yes,
giving a
Also.
very
Opposite characters and
listen, we're just going to take a quick moment. Stick with us, but Jim, I think it is that time to talk about what we're going to be covering next weekend.
I totally forgot. I was so...
It might be a movie that's coming out next week.
Oh, is it?
It involves a doctor.
Oh, Doctor Strange. There we go. Back to the guys.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, it's Benedict Cumberbatch. He's kind of he's kind of a sensitive guy. So, that's.
Listen, multiple versions of the Red Witch, played by the Olsen. There is helping drive the narrative.
There we go.
It will not. You know what? It won't score. I don't see it scoring high in our social nutrition checklist. But anyway, folks. That's what we're going to be looking at next week. We'll probably also do a parking lot reaction. Hopefully, I'll get out the parking lot reaction to
Nicolas Cage.
The Nick Cage movie. Which
Have you seen that, Caroline?
No, but I'm in love with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, you
you
have
gotta-
to see
you
that
have to see this.
movie.
What's it?
I will.
The
An
massive
enormous weight
talent.
of massive
Massive
talent.
yeah.
It's great.
Or immense talent.
I
It
love
is.
this actor.
It's and you will
Super
love
fun.
him more. Like you,
if it's possible.
Yes.
after this movie, yes.
Okay, and I have a something I did I never said because
Oh.
it's kind of, when you can't say it. One of my favorite movie of the world is Top Gun.
Really?
Yeah, and
We all have
I'm
to have our
waiting-
bonbons.
I'm waiting for it like 30 years, and it's done. But
Sequel.
with the COVID, it's 2 more years. We're waiting for the suite. So I'm like this. It's coming in June, I think.
Yeah,
Yes,
that is if memory serves. Well, there we go. Well,
It's the taste of childhood.
well,
I saw it when I was a child, and I loved it because I think it was amazing to see Top Gun and Tom Cruise and all the planes, and I show it to my kids. They were looking like this, but there is no war, there's nothing happening, and say, oh yeah, that's right.
it's funny you
Voilà.
bring that up because Jim and I do a bit of a thing called. You know what? I'll save that for the green room. Caroline, where can we find you on social media?
Oh, you mean on Instagram, on Twitter,
on
on Facebook?
Instagram, Twitter.
And Facebook as a human being.
Well, I know somewhere
I
in
am on-
France,
Yeah,
somewhere near the Pont
I am
Neuf,
on Twitter, Instagram,
and
Facebook.
that's on Twitter. It's C Vigneaux. Oui,
Yes.
yeah, and
In
then
Twitter, I don't go often because you were lights in the nightmare of Twitter. People on Twitter are so mean. So mean. When I saw your name, I said, oh, la, 2 guys gonna say that they
what are these
I was
assholes?
looking at it, oh my God, they like it.
Can I use that? Can I use that on my resume, Caroline?
Yes, do
I'm
for it.
gonna quote you
it's a
directly.
gift.
A light.
Just gonna cut this.
I Instagram, I will tell you, I have no idea what is my. It's Caroline Vigneaux on Instagram.
Caroline Vigneaux. All right, and we'll put a link on that in the description.
Voilà.
What's next for you?
That's a good question. I just finished my show on l'Olympia, so this is the end of Paris, and this is the end of my show. I'm on tour now, and I decided to do a podcast. It's gonna be in French, guys. Sorry.
Well, you know what? We can still
trying
link
help
to it.
I want to help people who want to change their life because, as you said, I changed my life. I used to be a lawyer, and now I'm a kind of director / actress / stand-up comedian / I don't know.
An artist,
whatever I want.
a working artist.
Or a free person, who stop thinking that when you are put in a box, you have to play the rule of the box. You can just crash the box and do whatever you want. And I want to help people to stop being afraid of do what they want. So I'm working on this podcast. Will be released in 1 month, something.
Okay.
Voilà. And I'm writing a new movie.
I was gonna say you've already written a few scripts, so you're writing a new one.
Yes.
Any hints?
Anything you can? Yeah, anything you can tell us about
but
it?
It's about the one I'm writing right now is about the story about a woman who decided to change her life and to become a designer and make her own clothes industry. But I wish I can do a flashback too with ecology.
Well, you kind of teased that, and I also want to see.
I think it's a good idea.
I also want to see, like, one of the disappointment. Let's put some air quotes on that. But I was like, you teased Condorcet so much after you met him, like you're waking up your character is waking up to him. I'm like, I do. It's another Simpsons reference. It's like, what do you mean we're not going to see Condorcet again? When are we going to go to the fireworks factory? Like, why was that not paid off? But now I know he died, but maybe in your ecological flashback, Condorcet or, could, come up again. I was making a pitch.
I don't know.
here.
I don't know if with the ecology. I don't know if it's a good flashback. Maybe it's gonna be something else. But she's gonna be pregnant. This is gonna be something.
Well,
And
with Napoleon's child.
Oh,
this is something.
there we go.
What's the middle name? What's the first name that kid gets? First name should be Robert.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks, want to thank everyone who showed up in the chat. DMG makes it when Caroline says Twitter with her accent, Twitter sounds like a fancy, classy place. It's like, sounds like it maybe. It's not.
Twitter is so comment on dit la haine, anger, so much anger on Twitter.
Yeah. It's
Crazy.
It's an island of negative energy.
Just try for it. If I said I like strawberry, I give you 10 minutes, and then I have a lot of hate saying, why do you like strawberry? What do you think about berry? And then blah, blah, blah.
Do you know the exploitive relationship between X and Y? Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, I want to say goodbye to DMG. Thank you very much for popping in, Richard and KDL. Anyone else? We do have a few lurker watchers. Thank you so much for coming by. And those of you in the future, you know what? Check in the description for links to Caroline's. If it's launched, if it's already launched, keep an eye in the description. We'll put a link to both her podcast and her presence on Instagram and that darkest of places, Twitter. Yes. Maybe you know what, when if you do at her in Twitter, that you be a bit of light. Everybody, thank you all very much. Caroline, if you could stick around for a couple of minutes just as we wrap up here, but I'm actually going to stop the live stream. So
see you, folks.
Bye everybody.